Welcome to the Enterprise World's YouTube channel. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Matthew Leschber, a distinguished figure in the real estate industry. Matthew is the founder and owner of 1836 Property Management, a company he established in 2007, which since has become a leading property management firm in Austin, Texas. With a career spanning over 2 decades, Matthew's expertise encompasses property management, real estate investment, and business development. His commitment to excellence and innovative approach have not only driven the success of 1836 Property Management, but also have significantly contributed to the growth and professionalism of the property management sector in the region. Please join me in welcoming Matthew Leschber. Welcome,
Good morning.
Matthew.
It's a pleasure
Good
to be
morning.
with you.
Thank you so much. So we are going to ask you a bunch of questions. Let's start then. Can you share your journey into the world of technology and property management? What inspired you to establish 1836 Property Management?
At the time, I was working as a real estate agent for one of the large local brokerages. And as most agents do, you have to get out on the street and do whatever you can to create sales, build relationships, drive leads, things of that nature. And so I was actually working lease leads and helping people find rental properties. As I was going through rental properties, I was interacting with property management companies, and I found it extremely frustrating. The biggest problems that I had were people not paying their bills on time, but the smaller ones were things such as inability to get into a property, showing properties that were dirty, showing properties that were supposed to be vacant, but actually had humans still residing in them, and I would walk in and catch them sleeping or other things. So with the desire to simply do something better, because I thought it cannot be this bad, we started managing properties myself, just one at a time, to kind of get my feet wet and see what the industry was about.
Right, right. Very well explained. Okay, how would you describe your leadership style and what core values drive your decision making?
Certainly. We actually implemented EOS many years ago. And so collectively as a group, we have our I don't know if you want to say our core values. We actually meet annually. We decide on what those should be. We revise them, and collectively we all agree to them so that we're all on the same page. I can go through those with you shortly, and then I'll back up to answer the first part of your question. So our current core values for 2025 are integrity, guidance, innovation, excellence driven, and personal connection. Because if we're not actually talking to people as humans, we're kind of losing the point of this whole thing, is it's a service industry. When it comes to me and what drives me personally, I would say it's my parents. I just had great examples and role models growing up, and those are very hard to get away from when they're programmed into you by example. And so if I ever have a question, I just ask what my parents do, and the answer is pretty simple and obvious most of the time.
Right, right. Okay, who has been a major influence on your career and how have they shaped your approach to business and innovation?
Certainly. I'll go back, and I've got a few, but I'll start with my parents and say, my parents started out and they did not have money. So they had jobs that were about security. They were both educators. One was a principal, one was a high school teacher. And those provided really great lives for us. But the life in America is a competition every day, and money is important. And while that was secure, because of their backing, I felt like I could do better. And my mother actually taught vocational office education in high school and interacted with a lot of the employers and believed in entrepreneurship. And so it gave me the opportunity, because of their stability, to go out and try something on my own, to try to be an entrepreneur and to start a business. Beyond that, though, I will say that I had a father-in-law at one time who was a business owner, and he started his own corporation. They manufactured the internal parts of elevators, still did that, sold them to larger companies, and then serviced small residential elevators, which sounds kind of odd, but they built an entire company around this, and they supported their entire family with it. And he was very open and kind to me to share with me his story and journey. And I got to learn a lot from that experience. I also had colleagues who were vendors. who were serial entrepreneurs, such as someone who has a locksmith company across the United States named Mr. Reiki. Ken Jennings was a friend and a partner and helped me not only meet other property managers, but gave me guidance on how to do business and what not to do, more importantly than anything else. I would say beyond those guys, reading has been a massive help because you cannot learn linearly when you need to learn collectively from other people's lives.
True.
And so picking up
Yeah,
books, whether it's autobiographies or how-tos, has been dramatic in the results because those ideas start to cross-pollinate over decades.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, what makes 1836 property management unique in the industry? How does technology play a role in your success?
We've got two things that make us unique, and one is kind of a standard answer, but we feel like ours is more honest than others. It really is about our people. Our people feel as though they're safe, that they have to work hard, but that
Mhm.
we care about them. And when we care about them, they have the opportunity to care about the clients. And everyone says this, but we know who our competitors are. And typically those companies are run by a husband, wife, and they have children, or they're run by someone who doesn't treat the employees well, or something of that nature. This company is my property. I had it
Mhm.
before my current marriage, and I have no children, whether that's good or bad. And so this company is actually going to go to the employees if something happens to me. And I think they know what that means to them with my level of trust that I've put into them. And so my spouse will be taken care of, but this is theirs, whether it's today or tomorrow. And that makes a real big difference in the way that they feel about coming to work. The technology that we've implemented as well is something that most people just don't have the patience, tenacity, and fortitude in order to put in place. It's really hard. And life changes. And so you work with people and they change and they come and go. And we've been really fortunate to work with a leadership team that has been stable for about a decade. And we have a guy that works with our technology, our developer, excuse me, I was searching for that term. And he's been with
Mhm.
us on the journey for over 5 years. He started working for someone else. We have helped him go out on his own, service other property management companies. And he's been with us for 5 years doing nothing but building out technology. And so with the people and the tech, I just really don't think that there's anyone that can compete with us, not because they're not smart or because they don't spend a lot of money on technology, but no one has the depth of the bench that we do like a sporting team does, and no one has the technology to go with it all combined.
That's amazing, actually. Okay, how do you leverage data analytics and automation in property management?
Certainly. So data analytics gives us points that we should watch for before they become
Right.
problems. So if we're monitoring the systems, we're monitoring our people, and everything that we do is tracked, we're able to identify key problems before they become larger issues. One
Yeah.
example that we found was days on market. How long does a property stay on market before it gets leased? So this is probably the biggest indicator of whether clients are satisfied, dissatisfied, whether they stay with us or not. And when we're able to rent those properties faster, we can satisfy clients, keep them longer, and the whole thing works better. Identifying what appropriate days on market are, different times of the year for different problems, or excuse me, different properties, enables us to identify the problems better and then offer incentives, adjust quicker, and find out if there's something that is standing out, including training for our team so that we can meet the needs of our clients.
Yeah, right. True. Well said. Okay. What major trends do you foresee shaping the future of tech-driven property management?
Two trends that are shaping up, and they've been coming for a while, but they're coming faster now. As you know, the industry in the United States, real estate was booming for a couple of years,
Right.
especially in
Yeah.
Texas. And then when interest rates increased, everything slowed down. The election was approaching, uncertainty was approaching. And so the volume of business that we saw coming in and going out changed dramatically because the environment changed. Large corporations have been buying into property management companies for at least a decade. Some of them were spending more than the companies were worth because it wasn't their money, it was investors' money.
Right.
But this trend has now accelerated on the other end. We're seeing small operators who can't compete because it's gotten more difficult actually seeking an exit, where before these companies were seeking them. And so I've had the ability to kind of review some of those offers lately because we have colleagues and friends. And it's been really interesting to see because the offers from these large corporations are not necessarily worthy of taking. But now that it's gotten hard, people are trying to get out of the business. I think on the technology side, it's going to be a similar issue. As these large corporations have more funding, they're going to develop technology, and it's going to be really hard for mom and pops to keep up. We saw this trend coming, 8, 10 years ago. And so 5 years ago, we actually spent an entire year doing research with the best that were out there. Then we committed a year later to what we were going to do. Then a year later from that, realized what we could do better. And so we've been on the same trend for about 3 years of development, very laser focused on a specific type of software that connects to our property management software through an open API in real time. And that has enabled us to build out real time systems that operate, which our staff work in those systems. They don't work on their desktop or on, you'll go to some property management companies and they'll have sticky notes or charts still on the wall. And that'll get them by yesterday, but it's not going to keep them alive for the next 4 years.
Correct. Right. Okay. Moving on to the next question. How do you navigate challenges such as regulatory shifts, market fluctuations, or tenant expectations?
I think the biggest thing for us is that since our systems are so developed, every single step of every process that we have isn't in someone's head, it's in the computer. And it
Yeah.
has to be followed. The steps have to be checked off. So when there's a change in the environment, when there's a change with regulations, we can simply adjust those steps or stages within our normal workflows. And then the property managers are trained on them, but also they have to comply with those steps, and we're able to monitor that. So I think we're able to do it with a real high level of accuracy. We still have to go out and seek data and information, stay engaged in our community, because no one comes to your business and says, hey, things changed, you should do something different. You have to stay fully engaged. And so we're engaged in trade groups. We go to conferences. We have colleagues. We're on coaching calls around the nation. One of our employees is serving as the president-elect of the trade group locally. And with that information, we can bring it back, adjust our processes as always, and stay within compliance and on the front of change.
Okay. Okay, great. So what are your key priorities and goals for 1836 property management in 2025 and beyond?
The key priorities and goals we have are some of the things we develop every year at our annual meeting and that are kind of basic, such as attrition. We have a number for that. Additions,
Right.
how many units do we expect to add, and all that. We also have things such as we monitor the dollar value of, we call them red credits. Sometimes we have green credits where we offer guarantees and we give money to the clients because we guarantee something. And we don't call that a bad thing. We think that's a win for the clients and a win for us. But the red credits, errors and things like that, we really want to monitor those. We monitor the revenue. But more than anything, we really want to stay in touch with our clients, be available to communicate with them. And so those are our biggest priorities, is really client satisfaction. How do we do a better job of letting them know that we care? Instead of sending an email to somebody with a bunch of data and saying, let me know if you have questions, sometimes we can send that email and then shoot a video, like we use Loom as a service provider for videos, embed that video and talk through it so that they can see our face, they can hear our inflection. They know that we care because we've dug into things and we share that information with them. If they want to call us and have a meeting or a phone call or come visit us, we love that. But just simply taking the time to let people know that we care, that we're digging into things, that it's not a perfunctory email, and that we are real people, I think sets us apart. That is one of our biggest concerns, is staying connected to our clients.
Okay, that's amazing. One last question, and we're done with the interview. What legacy do you hope to leave as a leader in the tech and property management industry?
I don't know that to be perfectly honest, desire to leave any legacy when it comes to technology, because I feel like
Yeah,
we're using third party services and those services are built out to do different things. And there's always going to be someone that comes after us that does something new and innovates. And I think that's great. I think the real legacy I wish to leave is that you can trust your employees, that you can treat people well, that you can develop a loving workplace where people feel supported and it will outperform a place where they feel micromanaged or not trusted or squeezed to do a job that they don't want to do. And so I think if we develop a great work family, and that work family and the love from it goes down to our clients, because we care about our people and our people care about our clients, and that all works in harmony, I think that affects other people. And that may be one of the reasons that we're here on this journey of life, is to affect change on others in a positive way. And so if we can manage that, I think we've accomplished something greater than just property management.
right. Amazing. Thank you so much. Matthew, it's been a pleasure having with you. I'm just gonna say this closing statement again. I'm so sorry. Matthew, it's been a pleasure having you with us today. We appreciate your time and the knowledge that you've shared. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories from industry leaders. Until next time, stay informed and stay inspired. To you, Matthew, thank you so much.